Okay, so this week we are discussing another Oscar nominee for Best Picture, Todd Fields' Tar. This is a psychological drama about control, about having the pieces of your life all fitting perfectly in this little puzzle, and then having them taken out one, two, all of them, all at the same time. Starring Cate Blanchett. That's how Quentin Tarantino said her name at an award show recently. Cate Blanchett. Noémie Morlant, Nina Haas, and others. You.
Yes, yes, Zach. Yes, Zach. This film does star Cate Blanchett.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that I'm very excited to talk about. But only one question matters on this podcast and in life, in case you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, but is Tar good?
We're going to find out. But is it good podcast? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Zach's got
What?
Zach's got good claps today.
I got good claps today. We clap.
We clap. It's syncing audio sync.
Mm-hmm.
Slate. It's like a slate. Yes.
Did you? This is skipping ahead, but I sent some reviews that I really want to read in the Discord chat. Read the first one.
Oh, okay.
And just don't read. Oh, we got good claps today. Welcome.
That's funny. Welcome to episode 108
of the But Is It Good podcast.
But Is It Good podcast.
Yeah. I'm your host, Zach Olson.
And I am your host, Hunter Callahan. Okay, I'm back.
Cool. Welcome back.
All right.
I was just listening to some Wii Shopping Channel music on YouTube.
Oh, nice. Wii's classic, man.
You like the Wii Shopping Channel?
Yes, it's classic. Okay, cool. So welcome to the episode.
Yeah, welcome.
Housekeeping. First off, please, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell everybody, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your aunts and uncles. Just tell everybody. And, send us some emails. Listen to the episodes. We're on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok.
You go down to the deli and you're like, hey, Tony, can I get a sandwich at the deli? Tell Tony. Tell him.
Tony. Tell him about the show. Cool. Now that that's out of the way, Zach, how are you? How's life?
Life is good. Life is good. Just living it. I'm just in the middle of it as we speak. Actually, I'm doing it right now. It's funny that you asked about life because that's where I am at the moment.
It's happening right now. Yeah, that's crazy.
What about you?
Wild. I'm doing it too. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of it too.
Yeah.
We're doing this thing called life together, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Dearly beloved.
That's beautiful.
Dearly beloved.
No, I'm good.
We're gathered here today to talk about this thing called life.
Anyway, yeah, no, I'm good. Just, work's picking up, and so just staying busy and, getting ready for our big show at Eddie's in April 1st, which I expect you to be at, sir.
Yeah, Eddie's Attic. It's April 1st.
Yeah, it is.
I just pulled that out of my ass. That's really...
Good job.
Yo. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be there.
Sick.
I bought all the tables, but
Did you really?
It's just going to be me, so...
Well, if you have any song requests, just let me know. I'll make sure I play for you.
Okay.
Cool. I'm excited to talk about this film today. We're continuing our Oscars series with Tar. I think that's all I was going to say about that. So anyway.
Okay. All right, Forrest.
I had another thought, and then it just vanished. I was thinking something was happening, but I was like, "Oh, that's the Grammys tonight. Nothing about movies." Mm-hmm. Although I'm curious about
The Grammys are tonight? I didn't even...
Yeah, they're happening right now.
I'm so unplugged.
Yeah, they're happening currently.
Bad Bunny opened the show. Look at him.
All right, Zach, shall we dive in? Got anything else to add? How's your girl?
Viola Davis became EGOT.
She's the EGOT, yeah.
EGOT.
I asked you how your girl was.
Sorry. It's just exciting. Athena's good. She's got gas.
That sucks.
It happens. It
Stinky.
either smells just like peanut butter or it or it's like really bad. Today's a peanut butter day, so that's good.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. All right. Well, do you want to start us off? I'm letting you lead this one. This is your episode, so.
Sure. Yeah. Tell me what to do. First thoughts?
First thoughts, because as usual, you just finished the movie, right?
My first thought was probably, "Oh fuck, I'm alive." Although I didn't know language yet, but it was something like that, just like air,
Didn't know what the hell was going on.
Air in my lungs. Who are you? As the doctors look at me in the eye,
First thought. That's fascinating. I wonder what a person's first thought actually is. Like, what the hell is going on?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
but you don't know language yet, so.
Well, but you're also capable of thought when you're still in the womb, like.
But what language is your thoughts in? It's just like.
Yeah.
Wow.
What language do feral people think in?
I don't know.
We need to find one and ask them. To be like, hey, thanks for sitting down for this interview. They're like chewing on your foot. Oh, we're podcasting. We should talk about the movie.
That's wild. Anyway, so yeah, first thoughts on Tár. You just finished it.
First thoughts on Tár.
I can read through some of your texts that you sent.
Yeah.
Your thought was, why do people in movies take pills with no water?
Yeah. That is my first thought. There's at least 4 or 5 pills in this movie that are taken with no water. Have you ever tried to take like a pill without water? Like, it's one thing if it's like a Claritin, like it's one of the little round ones. That's fine.
I have taken pills without water, but they've always been small.
Small, yeah.
Like a small one I can do, but she was
taking like capsules. The thing would get stuck. Have you tried to take one without water?
I don't want to try that.
I've had a capsule get like stuck to the back of my throat, and I'm like, swallow. It's not going down. So that's my first reaction.
Yes.
No, let me talk seriously about this film.
Yeah, for real. You're good.
I loved it. I thought it was really strong. It does such a nice job of showing how Lydia's life unravels. In the beginning, and I'm talking like overall in terms of the score, in terms of the way shots are composed, the pacing. In the beginning, it is composed and it takes its time to deliver its message. And throughout the film, it gets more and more erratic. And by the end, it's this disheveled mess. Where we're going from one scene to the next, and we're just going back and forth. Here, there, we're everywhere. Whereas in the beginning, you get these really long, like not monologues, but conversations, and it's cool to see how the film evolves, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I really loved it. And what's funny is that when I was watching it, I was kind of unsure. Not like in a way that was like I didn't like it, but I was sort of like, okay, yeah, like I'm in it. But then by the end of it, I was like engrossed in it, and I was like, this movie to me was such a. It felt so intentional. Like every little thing felt so intentional, but it was so restrained and it was so subtle. And I'm no spoilers yet, but like the tone of this movie shifts drastically.
Yes.
But when it does, you don't even really notice it at first.
Well, because the tone is shifting throughout, I think.
Yes. And then it's like all of a sudden you're there and you're like, wait a second, what am I watching?
Mm-hmm. And you've kind of been there, but you didn't realize that you were there.
Exactly. Like you begin to realize that like, oh, like this is actually not new.
Just like Lydia. realizes that she's somewhere that she doesn't necessarily want to be. And she didn't realize that she was on that path until she was there.
Yeah.
And we're on that path as viewers.
Yes. It was just, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, the performances were great, of course, but the score was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The direction was awesome. The framing, there were some beautiful shots in this movie. Incredible framing. And the direction, like, even in the first, which I'll talk about in a second, in the opening sequence, there are these choices to, like, linger on people longer than you'd expect.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, even in that first sequence, I was like, whoa, that's interesting. Like, that made me, like, stop and look and kind of think. And kind of like what...
They're meaningful choices. Like, if you stop and think, you'll find something, right?
Exactly. But also, like, what it's saying is really interesting, but also, like, what is actually happening versus, like, what are you being shown? Is that is that reality? Is that, like, there's this whole, like, theories that I've read. I'm not sure which one I believe yet, but, like, as a matter of, like, what was real, what wasn't. Yeah, I really, really loved it.
Yes, me too.
Shall we dive into spoilers?
Yeah, so we're jumping in the spoiler pool. So get on your spoiler swimsuit.
Yes. Spoilers are here.
And get your spoiler towel and your little spoiler sandals. And maybe apply some spoiler sunscreen.
Just a little bit, you know?
SPF 30, nothing too... Like, they say that anything higher than that, you're just wasting money at that point because SPF 30 is all you need, right?
Yeah, but just make sure it says spoiler on it.
Or if you're back in, like, the 60s or 70s... Don't apply spoiler sunscreen. Apply spoiler tanning oil so that you really burn and you get cancer later. Spoiler cancer.
Spoilers are here. Spoilers are here. Anyway, Zach's going to do a movie in a minute.
Yeah. We're going to talk about this movie in 60 seconds.
Just precisely. 60 seconds.
Precisely.
Do you remember back when we first started this podcast that we used to sing this song every time?
The spoiler song?
No, the movie in a minute song.
The movie, it's a movie in a minute, 60 seconds. That one?
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, that's it. That's so funny.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
It's a movie. That could be a TikTok. That's what I'm saying. Like that song.
Bam, bam. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
In a minute.
In a minute.
Oh, goodness. Look at us.
All right. Are you, who would have thought?
Yeah, I'm ready, if that's what you're asking. I'm currently
Are you recording? You've got your
video.
stopwatch and stuff?
Oh,
right,
no, I should get that. Or do you want to just tell me? Do you want to tell me?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull it up.
Cool.
Let me just pull it up, man. Online. Stopwatch. All right. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You count yourself down.
All right. This is movie in a minute. In 3, 2, 1, go. We open up. It's Lydia Tár. She's the star of the show. She's giving a speech about she's going to be conducting the fifth some guy music. So she's working on that. She's teaching this class at Juilliard, I think. And there's this guy that's like, yeah, I don't really like Bach or like these other people because they're they are shitty. And she's like, it doesn't matter if they're shitty. You gotta destroy yourself. So then we keep going, and we learn that she's had relationships in the past, that she's like, she's just kind of a shitty person. She would like only let people progress professionally if they like provided favors to her, or like there was a romance between them, or like whatever. And then we see an example of that with a cellist that comes to the Berlin Orchestra and like blah, 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 blah. So anyways, shit hits the fan. This girl kills herself and everything just goes haywire. Next thing you know, she is conducting the orchestra for Monster Hunter cosplay competition.
Perfect.
So
amazing.
Yeah, that's how quickly it shifts, you know?
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at the camera at all for that. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. I'm rubbing my hands together. Can you hear it? There you go. let us dive into this film, sir.
Okay, I need something to dive in.
What are you doing? So since you can hear me because you have your AirPods in, are you gonna dive into that bowl?
Want some Reese's Pieces?
I'm jealous. That sounds awesome right now. All I have is a bottle of whiskey.
Shit.
Anyway, so yeah, this film opens up, and this whole opening sequence, and this is one of those films that like it's a lot of dialogue, so we might not have to go through every single thing because it's just a lot of talking and everything. But the opening sequence to me was fascinating because it was really hard to kind of get a beat on who she was, not who she was as far as like what she's done, but like her as a person, like her character, like what was she all about, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, you assume that she's not a bad person because she has an iPhone.
Oh yeah, you're so right.
That's the assumption.
I assumed that she, maybe not that she was a bad person, but maybe that she was kind of an asshole.
Okay.
In like a very pretentious, like it seemed like that, and she kind of was, frankly. But I thought that the whole opening conversation was really interesting because, like I was saying earlier, you have these shots where like the interviewer would like ask some question, right?
Yeah.
And then it would just stay on him.
Right, while she's talking, right?
Yeah, for like her entire answer. So we kind of see his reaction. And he almost, and sometimes to me, he looked like was out of place, or he like maybe didn't really know what he was talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right.
But also, he didn't look comfortable to me.
No. And she looked extremely comfortable, right?
Yes.
She looked like that was where she was meant to be. Like we see the little we see the little shot of her like taking deep breaths. But I wonder if that was her going on stage for that interview or if that was her going on stage to conduct something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Before the scene that we're talking about right now, where she's like taking deep breaths. No, she's in her place. She is this, quite frankly, like masculine figure. Like throughout the film, she has that BDE, if you will, and she makes the interviewer uncomfortable. That's 100% correct. Because she's the authority in the room. Did you notice the shots of the mysterious figure with red hair?
Yes.
I was like, who that?
Which comes into play later. I think originally because I think we actually see the shot of that person's hair before we actually see Lydia on stage. Mm-hmm. And so I actually thought this was like starting like back in time and we were seeing Lydia like listening to somebody speak, you know what I'm saying? Like some sort of flashback. And we don't really know who this girl is. I mean, I really want to talk about Krista, but I don't know if I want to talk about her yet. Do we want to talk about her yet?
Maybe not yet, but she's there. Krista's there at the thing. But we also need to talk about, because the cold open for the film is like this is interesting. A little like text conversation. Almost looks like a FaceTime with text like over it. You know what I'm talking about? What did you make of that?
And so was that Lydia like hungover or something like that, or like asleep?
Looked like it, yeah.
But what was interesting is I'm trying to think of what the text said, but it was just like, oh, what time did she wake up? You know, blah, 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 blah. And there's something where it's like, not that her life was over, like she was falling
haunted.
Apart, but like what? Haunted,
it said haunted, yes. And then someone was like, so you still love her?
Yes. That was really interesting.
So whoever that was, my assumption is that they were texting Francesca, because Francesca's like her
assistant.
Right, exactly. So,
and haunted is such a perfect word. Once you see this film, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Literally,
that was really interesting. Yes, that was really interesting. And the whole opening sequence, because the credits are like in the beginning of the movie.
Not all the credits.
Yes, not all the credits, but a lot of them.
Did you notice something interesting about the credits?
How do you mean? I mean, yes, the whole thing was interesting. What do you mean?
the credits roll, and it's all the film crew, everybody that's like associated with the film. The actors are not in there, not until the end. Which is interesting.
Yeah. So that whole, felt very. I don't know. To me, that felt very. What's the word? Not prestigious, but like a very like assertive, like high art statement for some reason. I'm not sure why, but to me it was like
pretentious, holier than thou. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, but like not. It wasn't inherently like a negative thing.
Okay. So pretentious, but you are too, is what you're saying.
Like, yeah. I guess so. No, it felt like to me, it was like a need, like time to like take this seriously as a piece of art for some reason. Yeah. Maybe that was just nothing, but yeah, the whole opening sequence to me was and not just what she was saying, like what she was saying was fascinating. And we kind of get a glimpse of her, because this film could be about cancel culture, but also could be an anti-cancel culture movie. And in some ways, to me,
no, it's not. This movie's about control, Hunter.
Well, hold on a second. I was going to say, in a lot of ways, this movie to me is about neither of those things.
Right.
But I was saying, like, we get a glimpse of Lydia's, like, brash approach to some, like, because they ask her about, like, women in, music and, like, as conductors and stuff. And she was like, I've got no reason to complain, and, like, neither does all these people. Mm-hmm. And it seems like quite a dismissive, even though she has the accordion foundation, yada, 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 it still seems kind of dismissive, like, well, obviously, like, I don't need to complain because... So there's and which comes in play when she's at Juilliard, where she's talking to him about stuff.
Right. The entire opening interview is the litmus test of the identity that she's created for herself. That the rest of the film, like throughout the film, there's like little tests to see, is she still there or is she somewhere else now? She is talking about she doesn't read reviews. She doesn't care about the opinions of others because she's working. She's focused on the art and how important time is, and how the discovery phase for her happens in rehearsal. When she's out there and they're performing for an audience, she knows exactly what is going to happen when. There's no discovery then. She's fully in control of it, right? Mm-hmm. And so she paints this picture of an HBIC, if you will, a head bitch in charge, who has complete control over every aspect of her life, who doesn't need to worry about the opinion of others. And then throughout the film, we see her employ those values, those life values. So at Juilliard, when she's giving the lesson, and we'll get there soon, she employs that attitude, and it comes back to bite her in the ass later in the movie. A little later on, she gets these emails from somebody. It's Krista. She employs that attitude of like, oh, I don't need to worry about this, and it comes to bite her in the ass later in the movie. And then by the end of the film, and we'll take this journey together, Hunter, at the end of the film, you'll see that she is nothing she is nothing that she was in that chair at the beginning of the film in that first scene. Mm-hmm. So now we can continue. I just wanted to get that out there.
No, yeah, that's all spot on. And like you said, we shall discuss. I'm trying to think of like what comes next. We don't have to go in order, but I did think that the Juilliard scene was very interesting.
I think the Juilliard scene, like maybe she has a conversation with
Francesca
Andrus. First.
Oh wait, you're so right. Yeah. She has
no, not Andrus. The
what's his name?
Elliot Kaplan, the guy who's like funding her. He works at Kaplan Funds.
Yeah, it's Dr. Savannah from Shazam. Mark Strong. Elliot Kaplan.
Elliot Kaplan. That's what. Yeah.
That was a really interesting. Her conversations are so fascinating because it reveals so much about her, but also it's so, like I said, it's so restrained.
She's so quick-witted. Like she's very
quick-witted. Yeah,
she's in control. You know, she's like 100%. Like you can throw anything at her in a conversation, and she's gonna have a quip. She's gonna have something to you know.
And she has this way of like passing it off as like a, like she'll shoot you down, but for some reason make you feel like thankful for it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Where like he's trying to like he's trying to get her advice and learn her ways and her secrets, because he's like an amateur conductor, right? Yeah. And she's like, I won't, like, no, I'm not gonna tell you, but like it makes it a joke. He makes it like fun.
Right.
She does tell him one thing at the end.
She gives him something and then warns him, you know, don't become a robot. Right?
Mm-hmm.
She says something like that, don't become a robot, which is also important.
Yes. But also it's funny because like that implies, it's funny, like I don't know, as a musician and somebody who's in the arts and stuff, it implies that if you learn from your heroes, then you become a robot, but in reality everybody learns from their heroes.
Yeah.
Like is it Aldous? Is that his name?
No, it's not Aldous.
Andres is like her mentor, who taught her, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that to me was like just a really subtle.
It's like, look at Anakin, you know.
Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, he learned,
and he became a robot.
He literally became a robot. But think about specifically the scene. Like it's like the iconic lightsaber scene where they're both just like fucking swinging them around. They're not even hitting each other. It's because they're fanning each other out because their fighting styles are so similar. They are a carbon copy of one another, and that's exactly what Lydia does in this. Sorry.
No, that's good actually. That's good.
I'll stay on topic now.
Amazing.
Oh goodness.
But yeah, so she talks to Kaplan, but and it's so like, now that you're kind of saying it, I'm thinking back, and it's so obvious. It's subtle, but it's still so blatant where it's just like, you're right. She is like, I'm the boss here.
Yeah.
And if you look at even the like the posture of the people,
right? I don't think it's subtle at all.
Well, no, but like I said, she always looks so relaxed and so like comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And
you could be the. I mean, she's at Kaplan's office. I was gonna use you as an example and say you could be like the head of some law firm, and she could walk into your office and like sit in your chair and make you feel small. But she I don't have to give that example because she literally does it to Elliot Kaplan. She's in his office and he's like answering to her, you know, or like they're at lunch or whatever. And
yeah. Well, like later on, when things are going bad and she's kind of spiraling, but like he says something where it's like, I guess it's the last time that we'll see each other. And she says something just like, go fuck yourself or whatever, and just like storms out.
She says, I guess I can pay for my own plane tickets and you can... Something about conducting. Something that he's like shitty at conducting.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so let's go to Juilliard. So this class was fascinating because she's teaching. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of like how to word it. She's teaching, and she has this interesting sort of welcoming persona as a teacher, but also this so far like grandiose, unreachable vernacular, and like it sounds like she's sometimes trying so hard to be like, look how like metaphorical I am.
Well,
you know what I mean?
A lot of the things
that
yes, it does make sense, and I do think she takes it pretty far. But a lot of the, I don't know, like that's how I would think like a professor at Juilliard would be, honestly.
Exactly, and so maybe it's spot on. Like I don't actually know, but it's just such this abstract thing. But anyway, as you said in your perfect movie in a minute, what's his name? Max? Is that the guy's name? Max. Yeah.
Yeah, Max.
He's not into Mozart. Is it Mozart? No, Bach.
Well, none of them really. Because
yeah, and it comes to a head where he says like he's not into white, straight, cisgender composers.
Mm-hmm.
And she, for lack of a better term, I guess, plays devil's advocate. But it's basically saying like you have to separate the art from the artist. You know?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if this movie was produced by Kanye. You know what I mean? Like for a second there, I was like, wait, where are we? You know, but yes, what she's trying to say is that your job, because this is a class for conductors. He's a violin player, right? Violinist, if you will. But as a conductor, their job is to conduct music and interpret it in its most, well, I guess I don't want to say in its purest form, because there's you're adding to it, right? And you're creating something new out of it. That's like her whole thing is like what did the composer intend, and then how can I bring that out, or how can I change that in some way, right? And she's saying that the superficial, these are her words, not mine. The superficial details aren't what you want people to focus on. So why would you focus on them? She's talking about how would you like it if you were up there conducting and the focus wasn't on the music that you were conducting. It was focused on your, the fact that you're a pangender individual. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like the point that she was trying to drive home. He did not take kindly to it. Mm-hmm. He was not a fan, and he called her a fucking bitch, I think. Not just a bitch. A fucking bitch.
Which is strong words for your teacher.
Not just for your teacher, but for someone who, quite frankly, the impression that I got is that she's like the premier conductor in the world at the beginning of this film. So that'd be like if I played hockey and like Wayne Gretzky was like, "Hey man, shoot the puck like this, not like that," and I called him a butthead. It'd be like that.
Yeah. And I think it's a really interesting kind of approach, because you can't actually separate the art from the artist in reality. You know what I mean? Like you personally, and this is a different conversation. I was thinking of like Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Is who popped in my head. Or recently, Kanye. He's a much more recent person, and it's like, can you still enjoy their art? You know what I mean? Like, I don't listen to Kanye anyway, but like,
now I think, and we do not need to get on this discussion, but we can talk about it. We can talk about it briefly.
Yeah.
I'll denounce Kanye right here on the podcast. I do not fuck with him anymore, if you will, But we do it with things that aren't recent, like Kanye, or what was the other example you gave? Michael Jackson. Because a lot of conductors, like Bach and Mozart, did some weird shit or did some bad shit. Think about. And I guess, like, as people come to know more about certain things, they don't idolize these people anymore. But think about, like, our founding fathers and all the awful shit they did.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, in school, we're learning, like, they're the best.
Yeah. Oh, this is a whole conversation.
That's why I said we don't need to go down this rabbit hole. But... And so I couldn't tell, because at that point in the film, we're very early. We're still in the first 15 minutes probably. I didn't have a read on Lydia yet. I knew she was at HBIC, but I didn't know like what angle she was coming from.
Well, because like her approach, even in this topic, wasn't one of care or like of like teaching or saying like, hey, keep this in mind, or you know, like put yourself in those shoes. Not like you've done bad things, but like say like you're only seen as X, Y, and Z. Like you'll be labeled as such too. It was sort of like, you're an idiot. Look at this. Like, here's why I'm right. And don't forget who's in charge. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, with the you're an idiot and that's wrong and this is right. But I didn't get the sense that she was saying, look who's in charge. I got the sense that she was already kind of in panic mode a little bit. I mean, it seemed deeply personal when he storms out of the auditorium and she says, you know, something along the lines of, hold on.
Oh, you have to go in front of the world and God and obliterate yourself or something like that?
She says,
when she says that?
She says, if you want to dance the mask, you must service the composer. You got to sublimate yourself, your ego, and yes, your identity. You must, in fact, stand in front of the public and God and obliterate yourself. And in that moment, she does not look happy. She looks like she's talking to herself just as much as she's talking to Max.
Yeah, maybe. And that's, you know, like...
And that was the first time, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. That was the first time that someone, at least on screen, someone didn't go along with the plan, you know?
Yeah. Hey, that's a very good point. I think it definitely it was definitely like a moment where I think what's funny is that to her, that's somebody who is like, oh, they aren't cut out for this. Just like with Krista, who we can pivot to because we're already at like 40 minutes.
Bullshit.
To her, she would.
We're at 40 minutes.
Well, no, actually, because we've taken some breaks, maybe like 30. But like for her, if anybody doesn't go along with her script, if you will,
yeah,
like Max in this case, or Krista earlier and later, she justifies that by being like, oh, well, then they don't have what it takes, or they have issues, they're messed up,
right?
Instead of saying like, oh, maybe I'm the problem, you know, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
There's another Taylor Swift in there.
Yeah, I'm on a roll. Which I think is just it's one of those things of like a narcissistic, in denial type sort of approaches. But we also, real quickly, we meet her wife. I'm not sure if they're married, but it's her partner for sure. I think it's wife. And then their daughter, Petra, who calls her Lydia, which I thought was interesting. I'm taking some water.
You're taking some water?
Taking a sip of water.
Yeah, you didn't call your mom Hope growing up?
I did not call my mom Hope. No, I did not. Although my brother-in-law calls his parents by their first names.
Did he growing up?
I think so. I think
really?
for a long time now he said that. Maybe since like teen years. I don't actually know. I can ask Hannah.
You know, in some households that's like literally disrespectful.
Yeah, no, I don't think that they like it, but he does it anyway.
Okay. Great.
I don't know. At this point it's just normal. Anyway, so throughout this film we get these little, at least through the first act, we get these little hints, these little breadcrumbs as to what's kind of brewing behind the scenes, right? Mm-hmm. This girl, Krista.
We get Francesca tells her that she's gotten another
weird email,
disconcerting email or weird email from Kristen. She's like, ignore it, don't answer it. And then she says that this time it seems really desperate. She seems really desperate. And she just says, ignore it. Fuck it.
Yep.
Then she gets on the plane. I think she's on a plane, right?
Well, she gets the package. They're in the hotel room. She's at the piano.
Okay.
And she's like, just leave it there. But then on the planes, when she opens it.
She opens it up, and it's Krista's book, Challenge. Mm-hmm. And she, like, freaks out and, like, rips a page off and then throws it away. I'm like, why didn't you just throw the whole thing away? Why'd you?
Well, because there's like some sort of drawing, like a maze almost on the front.
The lattice thing, which comes back on the metronome.
Shows up again, yeah.
It comes up in, like, dreams. Mm-hmm. Anyways, yeah. So yes, we get these little hints. I just wanted to say what the hints were.
Yeah. And what's funny is that I personally, maybe I just missed it. They have the talk of, Krista, there's a weird email, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the weird book. And you think, okay, that's probably connected. It's probably the same person. But I wasn't convinced. I was like, what's going on? I thought, we skipped up this one little part. Sorry. This one little part that I thought was going to be bigger, but actually looking back, it's just a telltale sign. After her talk, this is the very beginning, she's talking to that one girl. Remember, the girl's asking her questions about stuff?
Yeah.
And says, can I text you and stuff? And there's a very obvious, attraction.
Yep.
And, maybe a little bit of flirting. And Francesca does not like it.
No.
So there's this these little hints at kind of what's been going on, what she's been doing, her kind of MO.
Did you get the impression that this transactional relationship that is recurring, it happens there, it happened with Krista, we find out it happens with Olga, and quite frankly, her wife.
Yep. That's how it started.
Hints at it, that's how it started, right? Did you get the impression that something happened with Francesca as well, and that they
yes.
moved beyond it in whatever way they could?
Yeah, and I think that's when Sebastian gets told that he's getting rotated out or whatever.
Right.
He makes a comment about, it's going to be that girl. I think he's talking about Francesca.
He is, yeah,
and it's the. But
it wasn't ever going to be about her, was it? She wasn't.
I think she would have probably gotten the job.
Maybe. But so this is why that particular dynamic is confusing to me, because throughout the film there are multiple spots where it seems like Francesca tries to make an advance. They're at the hotel late at night, and she's like, "Oh, do you want me to stay and take notes? What?" And she's like, "No, you can leave." And there's a couple other times where she's like, "Hey, what are you doing for lunch?" And she's like, "Not eating with you, bitch." Not that. You get my point, right?
Yes.
It doesn't seem like it's actively going on, so I didn't get the impression that Lydia would have used that to progress Francesca's career. Does that make any sense at all, or am I just babbling?
No, I think it does. But I think it had become one-sided in the sense of at least the reaction to Francesca not getting the job, to me, definitely implied an expectation on her side.
Okay.
I'm saying? It seemed like, to me, she had this pattern of being like, okay, well, I've made my transaction. I've got what I want. I'm done. So.
Yeah.
And so for her, she had kind of gotten that, okay, now she's my assistant. I don't actually want to move her up anymore, or I'm not going to. Or if I do, it'll look bad on me. So I'm not even going to think twice about it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, even if it wasn't actively happening, I definitely got the impression that something had happened with them. Yeah.
Okay. I do not think that it was even in the cards for Francesca to get the role as the assistant director, because of all the reasons that you just said. Because it would look obvious at that point, but also because there was nothing actually going on actively at that point in time. So when Sebastian brings it up and he's like, it's going to be the girl, I didn't get the impression that she switched her tune or whatever, changed her tune to pivot to someone else. I got the impression there was going to be someone else from the jump, if you will. Anyways, that's a small point. Let's talk about Krista.
Oh, Krista.
Spill the tea about Krista.
I had something in my teeth. Dude, this was, in my opinion, it was so well done. So, gonna set the scene real quick. I'll try and be quick about it, because we have a lot to get through. Very subtly, but also very blatantly, frankly, the movie starts taking a turn towards a horror movie.
Yeah.
And you know, she's laying in bed and she kind of hears things in her house. Her metronome is like going, and it has the drawing on it or whatever, the maze.
That all happens after she's out on her run, and she's
out on the run. She hears screaming. That was terrifying, dude. Like that would have been horrifying.
Do you know why that was terrifying? Because that scream audio came straight from the Blair Witch Project.
Did it really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that like facts?
Yes. Yeah. It is a fact, Hunter.
I've never seen the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, so they pulled the audio from there. But so that scream happens, and then a couple of days go by because we see them at night. She's like with her wife, and then she takes her daughter to school the next day. And then it's like one more day goes by, and then Francesca tells her the news and shows her the article about Krista. So I think that she heard that scream like in the moment that it happened.
Oh yeah! Wow! Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Is that she was already being haunted by it, like from that moment? Because if you look at the timeline, it lines up, like it does. Which is super
there's
interesting.
So many little things, you know. So she hears the scream,
Mm-hmm.
and then, when she gets told, you know, she tells Francesca, "Okay, delete all these emails."
Yeah.
She deletes all of her emails, which we get a glimpse of what she's done, and she basically blacklisted her.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of comes out that like Krista was this girl that she had a sexual relationship with, transactional relationship, and either like stopped it or ended it or like didn't respond to her advances, whatever. And in response to her, like, I guess being turned down, Lydia like blacklisted her and like wouldn't recommend her and told everybody that she was crazy and had all these issues and would ruin their music and orchestra.
Right.
And so she like made it her vendetta to like, you know, ruin her life, and she did. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, she's found a new muse, if you will, a new target, which is Olga. Mm-hmm. This new cellist.
Who she looks at her shoes while she's peeing.
Yeah.
So that she.
Well, I think she sees her like walk into the stall.
Yeah, so she watched her walk into the stall, and then she like tried to look under the stall, Hunter. I don't know if you missed that.
No, yeah, no, I saw it.
Pee noises, and then she runs out.
And so we start seeing the cycle start over because they're having auditions for. I guess for their orchestra, and she like you see her write something for this person's response, and then she notices the shoes, and then she erases it. So she changes her answer based on the fact that it's her, and then she selects a song for the accompaniment that is specific to her, and then gives it. Apparently, there's like a cellist who's like a veteran in the orchestra who always does solos, and then she says, "Actually, we're going to do an audition."
Yeah, I guess I'm not in that position of power to like do shit like this. Mm-hmm. But why couldn't you just like walk up to Olga after the auditions and be like, "Hey, sorry, you suck, but I'd like to jump your bones later." So you know what I mean? Like, why? I guess.
I mean, maybe it was because she's married and like she wants to like find a reason to have her nearby to.
Do you think as subtly as she thinks she can, even though her wife is like keyed in pretty much the whole time
and literally sitting right there?
Yeah.
Like literally, not just like she's near. She's literally sitting like to her left,
watching
like,
it
right
in
there,
real time,
watching it happen. Yes. But also at this point, there's definitely like an arrogance of like I can do anything. Like I'm the HBIC, as they said, as you said. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so all that's unfolding. Almost like, in my opinion, is this like becomes the subplot. It's definitely the main plot, but like to me, the main plot was like Krista and that saga. And yeah, she hears like footsteps in her house. She like
the metronome that has the pattern on it.
The metronome has a pattern on it, and like there's like a high droning sound that's like in her fridge, and like
what was that? What was the droning?
I think she's just like hearing things, and then like
and what was the wind chimes?
I don't know, but like she's just hearing stuff. But then one night Petra's like awake, and I don't know if you noticed it. It gave me chills, but like when she goes and like rubs her feet, there's a shot where like we're looking down at Petra, and we have like, I think it's Lydia is like sort of frame right, rubbing her feet, and Petra's looking back at Lydia, and I think maybe I'm making it up, but she looks over her. Did you notice that?
I did, but that's right before, or sorry, right after. When Lydia's getting out of bed, there's someone so in the fucking corner.
That's the same scene? Okay.
Yeah,
cool,
it's the same scene.
So hold on. I want to get to that. That's like the culmination, and in my opinion. There's another scene that I actually missed at first, and I saw it. I like went back and I watched it again, and I saw it. There's a scene where I think it's... I don't know if it's the same. No, it's the first time Olga comes over, I think. Yeah, it's the first time Olga comes over to her other studio, apartment, whatever, and she's reaching into this like cabinet, and she's getting like a scroll.
Yeah.
And behind her, there's a piano, and then you can see Krista.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. And it's just like, there's nothing about it that points it out. There's no musical flares. There's not even lighting to like really point it out.
It's like haunting a Hill House shit.
Haunting a Hill House, yes. It's so good. It scares the shit out of me, dude. Oh, dude. Chills, man. Because I was watching it. I was not mentally prepared to watch a horror movie.
No, me neither.
Not at all.
But starting from...
Yes, go on.
And the one that happens during the day where she's at the piano, she's getting the scroll or whatever, that one didn't get me, right? But it keyed me up. So that anytime she was in the house at night, also, it's not the same house, but for some reason it reminded me of the house from Smile.
Oh, yeah, okay.
With the hallways and the shit. And so I was just like, every time it was nighttime, I was scared. I was just scared.
Dude, same. And what's funny is that I kept telling myself, I was like, this is not a scary movie. This is not going to be a horror movie.
Right.
This is not.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't be ready. But even still, it didn't point it out. It's just like just like when you first see the ghost of the grandmother in Hereditary.
Yeah.
It doesn't even try to show you. It just shows you the frame, and it lets you find it. Mm-hmm. Or like when she's like up in the corner in the bedroom, and you're like, what in the hell? But yeah, dude. So it all comes to a head when she drops Olga off at this thing. I think this is the same day that her upstairs neighbor's like mother died, like collapses or whatever.
Okay, what happened when she collapsed earlier? When like she's like knocking on the door and she's like, help, and she just like, was that supposed to symbolize something? You know what I'm talking about? Where she like helps the old woman up into the wheelchair. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh no, yeah, like I don't know. Like to me, that was I don't know. That was like during her. She was starting to spiral a little bit too, because she comes back and she's like butt naked running around, and
right.
I don't know. I think it just sort of sets up when her family comes back and she's like, "Hey, can you not practice sometimes?" And then she's like yelling at
By the way, if was her song "Apartment for Sale," was that nominated for an Oscar? Because it should have been.
You mean a Grammy?
Well, no, it'd be. Isn't there like an Oscar for like best song? Like, isn't Rihanna nominated for?
Yeah. You're right. Apartment for Sale. But yeah, so it comes to a head. She goes to this sketchy ass like apartment building, drops off Olga, and here's where I heard this theory of like everything after this moment is imaginary. I don't know if I believe it.
Everything?
But there's that's what this theory said. I'm not sure if it's real or not, but there's an interesting little shot where it's like she's like holding the bear out of her car, yelling for Olga.
Yeah.
And this silver car passes by, right? And
Something weird happened with the camera there.
Yes, we do like a weird jump cut where now we're the opposite perspective looking at the car instead of being in the car. And we see the silver car finish driving by, and when it passes by, she's already out of her car and walking towards this building, which in real life, that wouldn't be possible. There's not enough time.
Well, that could just be a continuity error because there's a couple of them.
Maybe. But that's where this theory starts. But anyway, whether you believe that or not, it's a fascinating perspective. She goes, for some reason, venturing down this abandoned, sketchy ass place. She hears like singing and stuff.
It's highly symbolic, Hunter. She's trying to like solidify this bond with another young, attractive woman who she's going to have this transactional relationship with her. So, and she does this kind of shit under the table, right? Like underground.
Yeah.
And so she literally goes underground. It's wet.
You almost didn't say it. Did you?
Symbolism. It's wet down there. But literally this dog, she hears these footsteps and shit, you know, she's not sure what's going on.
It's like Sirius Black. It's like Harry Potter. You haven't seen that movie yet, have you?
Yet? I've seen that movie. I've seen all the Harry Potter movies.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wait, you didn't like them. That's right.
Yeah, I just didn't like them. But
it's the black dog of death or whatever.
Yeah, but this dog is literally like a guardian for Olga. And it's saying like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not gonna let you do this. So then she runs off and like busts her fucking head, right?
Yes.
She gets messed up.
She does. Which must have been a really nasty fall if that to her. But also, those footsteps, in my opinion,
I like the thought that that's like a figurative journey that she goes on, and not like a literal one. So like if the theory is correct that all happened in her mind, I'm okay with that. You know?
Yeah. But it's interesting because like, to me, those footsteps didn't sound like a dog to me, at least.
No, they sounded like a little girl or something to me.
Yeah, like someone's like running through, and that's when I was like, what am I watching? It was crazy. But yeah, then I think it's like that. Go on.
Well, that's after, because it was a couple of nights before that she has the dream. I think, or I can't remember.
Oh, when she's in bed and it's on fire.
Yeah, she's like in bed and it's like on this little like pond thing. She's out in nature and the bed just like catches on fire while she's on it. What do you think that means, man?
Well, I would say it's literally it's starting to catch fire like that. What she did, and I guess the bed can symbolize whatever you want to. Sex, the sexual nature of the relationships, and it's. I mean, for me, it's like it's all starting to like burn down.
In that moment.
And she was like floating in this body of water. She's like isolated by herself. She's kind of alone. She's stuck on this bed. Here you go. She made her bed and she has to lie in it, and it's on fire.
Boom.
There you go.
She made her bed in a fucking lake. Very serene area, you know, like I also thought it was interesting that she's like surrounded by like this beautiful landscape. And yet she's in a fucking burning fucking bed. Fuck.
Yeah.
You know? Like, she didn't have to do that. She could have just had this beautiful career without that, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And so then, like, after the whole dog thing, there's a few nights later, is the shot. The shot where she hears something. She hears Petra. She's, like, screaming for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Lydia wakes up, and immediately we see her move her head, and so we see what's her wife's name? Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
We see Sharon's head laying next to her, and she gets up, and as she gets up, boom, just clear as day, but also not clear as day, is somebody just sitting there in the corner, and I literally like remember I was upstairs watching it, and Hannah was next to me. She was on her phone. She wasn't really watching.
Did you jump?
And I was, no, I didn't jump. And that's why, dude, that's the thing. That's why it's almost scarier to me. That's why it's like, it's so well done.
I jumped.
That I literally stopped it, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody was in that room. And
Yeah.
I backed it up, and I was telling her, and I was like, right there. I said, somebody's in her house. And I'm getting chills again. Not even that shot. I know I've been rambling like the past 15 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, go. Ramble.
Not even that shot. That shot's brilliant. It's scary. It's unnerving. It's great. It's Petra's eyes moving. What does it for me is when she's sitting there rubbing her feet, and then her eyes look over her shoulder. I was like, fuck no. Nope. And I was ready to have some sort of shot where she's in the background. We didn't get that. And I'm glad that we didn't, because the restraint of this movie is so good. It messed with your head, but that shot was
I know. I
was not ready for it.
I already said haunting of Hill House, right? Like I drew that comparison. But the reason it's such a good comparison is because that show was all about trauma, right? And facing your fears and healing from this really traumatic shit. But a lot of the horror in that show was really subtle like that. Like there was just someone in the corner. It's like a memory of something.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And that's what we get in this film, which is not a horror movie, but which has horror elements apparently, where we get a shadow of God, why can't I think of her name right now? Krista in the corner.
Yeah.
Or we get the metronome that has the pattern on it. I guess the book was shipped before Krista died. Wouldn't it have been crazy if she shipped that book, killed herself, and then the book got there 4 days later or something? That would have been wild. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. We can move on now.
Yeah, it was just so good. It was so good.
That was the shot. I also Googled it, and I couldn't find anyone talking about that particular shot.
Really?
Where she's in the corner. Yeah, I couldn't find anyone talking about it. So I'm glad that you also saw it, because I thought I was going crazy.
Dude, it was clear as day to me. But anyway, I know that we have to wrap up soon, but her life falls apart. She gets removed from her orchestra, the fifth or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I, for one, there's that one little throwaway line about her getting removed, but that's really easy to miss. But when she was getting ready to go out there, I thought, oh, she's going to actually go out there and do this show. Which, first off, go back and watch this film. There's a scene, there's the shot where it's the theater, and it shows people coming into the theater. Yeah. And it's one of the coolest shots I've ever seen. Just the architecture, the way it's framed. Yeah. Incredible. Anyway, she storms out there and just tackles, who is it, Kaplan?
Beats the crap out of Elliot Kaplan, yeah.
And so she's definitely, this is her downfall. She, Sharon makes her leave. She can't see her daughter anymore. Mm-hmm. And then she goes back home. We find out her name is Linda. Right. So she has a completely different...
that's when it becomes clear that she's created who she is. She's, your classic run away from home and create your own life. You haven't seen Mad Men, but Donald Draper, Mad Men, that's what he does. Spoiler alert. He runs away from home and creates a new life for himself. That's what she's done, right? Her name is Linda. It's not Lydia. And there she is. This is probably the first time in the film where I empathized with her. Because before that, either she didn't require empathy because she was at HBIC, or I thought she was a piece of trash. But in this scene where she's in her childhood bedroom, she's sitting on the floor watching the videos that she watched when she was a little girl. This top of her field composer, who's done so much, or conductor and composer and pianist, who's done so much in her field, sitting on the floor, and she put on her medal from grade school, and she's just crying. That was that was when I was oh shit, haunted.
Do you know what that reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of the hamburger from the menu.
Yeah.
Where it's they have to remind themselves why they started doing what they're doing, and
right.
Well done. And and I thought that was a really beautiful scene, and it's heartbreaking because it's you don't like her.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Right.
And it's just you could have, why did you, you have to kind of obviously you can't change it, so you have to recenter yourself. And how do you move forward? But also there is that moment of like, why did you in the first place? You know?
Yeah.
And look, no one's perfect. People make mistakes. People can change. But it's like, did you really have to get to that point to have to try and, I guess, straighten out? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyways, we can bring about the end of the film. She goes to the Philippines. And there's the little scene where she needs a massage because she's jet lagged, and
that was wild.
She goes to the fishbowl, and she's like has to pick her person who's going to give her a massage. And number 5 looks at her, which the Fifth Symphony is the one that she was supposed to conduct. So she goes outside and she throws up.
But also keep in mind that was laid out like an orchestra.
Yes, yeah.
And she was sitting right where Olga was to her.
Was she really? Are you sure?
It was like directly in front, sort of towards the right. I thought so.
I thought that Olga was directly in front, sort of towards the left from where she was, because I remember thinking she has her orchestra set up kind of funky, because like when I was in orchestra, the cellists were all the way to the right, like. Yeah. First chair would be like directly to your right as the conductor, but in their orchestra it seemed like it was violins, cellos, and then like violas, and then like basses in the back. I don't know. It was weird, but this doesn't matter. Yeah. If it was where Olga was, that's wild.
Yeah,
wild.
And then she comes out to this on stage, and she has this very serious. She's back at work. She's back, conducting, and it's for a Comic-Con. I mean, it's not Comic-Con, but it's like a video game
Monster Hunter
event.
Yeah. When the opening credits were rolling and there was that weird singing in the background, it said special thanks to Monster Hunter, and I was like, what the fuck? And then at the end, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. And that's it. That's the end of the movie.
But think about, I know we're running over, and I know we're going to run over, but damn it, Hunter, I want to talk about this.
Okay.
I want to talk about this right here. So we reach the end of the film, and she's in the Philippines, and she's scrolling through like reviews of her or like articles about her, and she's like, so one thing that she said where she's like, oh, I don't read reviews about my work, and she's like obsessed with it now, right? She is conducting this work where she's not given that much creative room, so she's a robot, which she said, don't be a robot at the beginning of the film, and her biggest thing was control of time, and they require her to wear a headset that's going to have the metronome in it, so she's not even controlling that. She's basically just standing there.
Yeah,
she's become everything that she either criticized or whatever at the beginning of the film. That's who she is at the end. I just think that's the transformation's complete. It's come full circle.
Fall from grace.
The fall from grace. Icarus
from the Eternals.
Yep. Yeah. We had to bring fucking comic book movies into this, didn't we?
I really love this movie.
Me too. Yeah,
I really did. This one might be a golden good for me.
I liked this more than All Quiet on the Western Front. Let me tell you that. I'm gonna tell you that.
What else have we done this year? I can't remember. How about Babylon?
Yeah.
How about Fablemans?
No, I liked the Fablemans a lot.
Okay.
I don't know. Let me think.
Yeah. Well, think. So, is it good, though? Is it good?
Yes, it's excellent. I think that this is a Golden Good nomination, personally.
Yeah. We're off to a strong start this year.
Yeah, pretty strong start.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Tar is very good. It is a possible and probable Golden Good Golden Globe nominee. Good nominee.
We're 4 weeks in. We've got 2 Golden Good nominees already.
Look at that. Look at that. All right. Time for Every Movie Sucks. Here we go. Let's get some good ones. You've already got some saved.
Every movie sucks. Every movie sucks. Okay, so Rio gave this a half star and said, I shit in my hands and clapped when it was over. You got one, Hunter?
What? All
right, AIP says, wow, this really made me think, ... of all the choices that I have made that led me to the decision of not walking out of this film.
This says, half star, Kate, please. LOL, please. No, actually, this one says, absolute hog shit. Nearly 3 hours long. One of the worst movies I've seen in years. I have no idea why critics are sucking its dick. Okay.
I Love John Wick says, this is a half-star review. I left this 30 minutes in to watch Megan because this shit was boring. Megan was boots.
Apparently Megan is really good, which is such a shocker to me.
I listen, I want everyone to know that I wanted to review it.
We can still do it. Let's still do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's see here. I'll do one more, then you can do one more. Half star. This is from Beacher98. This movie has shaken my trust in people whose tastes I have always agreed with. Why did anyone like this? It was garbage from beginning to end. It had nothing at all to say, and it felt like it was making fun of all parties and supporting nothing. It wasn't even worthy of hating. It's just nothing. That was deep, bro.
This is a half-star review from Roast Beef Penis. It says, the piano teacher meets Babylon meets rotting garbage. The last 25 to 30 minutes made me downgrade this from 2 stars to 0.5. I mean, really, what a blatant money grab that tells a regurgitated tale in the most dull way possible. This is a film that offers no nuance and no hint of artistic intent. Also, I hate Cate Blanchett's face.
That's a troll. He's a troll.
I feel like he could have put that at the beginning, and then I wouldn't have read the whole thing.
Alrighty, time for news. We got lots of news.
News. Sing the news song, Hunter. You said you got onto me. You yelled at me for not singing songs anymore, so sing.
It's news. Gonna talk about the news. It's my shindig. That's news of the week. It's Hunter Shindig. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm gonna get through a bunch of stuff. Then we got some DC stuff to talk about, obviously. I'm going to go through the non-DC stuff real quick. Marvel stuff. Rumored Midnight Angels from Black Panther 2. Apparently that is going to be a Disney Plus show. We got a first poster for Fast and Furious 10, which is called Fast X. Let's see here. Jafar Jackson, which is Michael Jackson's nephew, is going to be playing Michael Jackson in a biopic.
Okay.
Dave Bautista said he spoke. This is some DC stuff, but it's not the big stuff. Dave Bautista said that he spoke to James Gunn about playing Bane, but is no longer talking to him because he is going with younger actors, which we'll get to in a minute. Maybe. Netflix teases its first image from a live-action adaptation of the anime One Piece, which will release this year. Mm-hmm. And then some non-DCU news is Pennyworth has been canceled. And then Funko Pop Toys has a leak has confirmed a few different Flash rumors for the movie. I'm not going to say what they are. If you know they are, then cool. But that is getting a trailer next weekend at Super Bowl. Apparently is really good. So we'll see. And then Avatar has quietly passed $2 billion.
Quietly.
It is going strong. But okay, DC news. James Gunn has released the first partial slate of his DC universe. Mm-hmm. Let me pull up the actual thing real fast. And it's very interesting. We shall discuss. Let's discuss.
It's something.
So here we go. I'm going to pull this up so I can see you while I'm talking to you. Oh, I can't do both. What? That's annoying. All right. First off, Zach, we have... Well, he said this is the first part of the first chapter, not the entire chapter, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is called Gods and Monsters, as he said. But before we get into that, he said a couple quick things about the movies coming out this year. He said Shazam's coming out. The words that he used were, it's kind of in its own little area, so it flows right in pretty well into The Flash, which resets the DC universe, and apparently is, as his words, one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Yeah, marketing.
Yep. And then we have Blue Beetle, which is new, which sounded like he's going to be in the DCU. Who knows?
Isn't there already a Blue Bug show on Amazon?
The Tick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Aquaman, which, again, he made it sound like it flows right into the DCU. So there is still a big question of, we know Henry Cavill's out. We know Ben Affleck's not going to play Batman anymore. But what about Gal Gadot, Momoa, Ezra Miller, and Zachary Levi? There's definitely, they haven't said they're leaving, so they could be staying on.
I think that, well, first of all, I want to say that I the day that all that news came out, there were a couple like interview excerpts where James Gunn was basically he was talking about Ezra Miller and talking about how they are going through a lot of like rehab stuff,
yeah.
And it made it sound like they were considering keeping Ezra on as the Flash, which I think would be a mistake. I just want to say that first and foremost.
Yeah.
If the Flash is the reset, which he said it is, it's going to essentially reset the DCU.
Well, he came back out and said that it resets some things, not everything.
Which already,
come on, man, it's already getting confusing.
Right, but if that movie comes out this year, right? Isn't it like?
Yeah.
So,
I think it's June.
And then Aquaman comes out after it. Wouldn't Aquaman have to be part of the new DCU? Otherwise, they would flip the release.
That's
I
the
would
questions. That's the questions. And the thing is that Aquaman, they've shot scenes. He has shot scenes with Michael Keaton as Batman and Ben Affleck for Aquaman. And now it's also rumored that both of those scenes have gotten cut.
Well, and I mean, we may have already talked about this, but I heard that Michael Keaton's cut from The Flash, too. Because was Michael Keaton supposed to be in The Flash?
Yes, and I don't think he's going to be cut from The Flash because he's already been in some marketing.
He's cut.
So from what I've seen, he's already been in some marketing, and I've seen stuff with like both Batman. We'll find out because the trailer comes out next Sunday.
Okay.
And so we'll see. But from what he was in the teaser, and DC just re-released like an updated modern, quote unquote, modern trailer of Batman '89. So I'd say he's at least going to be in The Flash. But anyway, yeah, that's really confusing because if The Flash is a reset point, then that means Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 would have to be in the universe.
But anyway, people are getting hype, and I just think it's going to be too little, too late. It's going to be mediocre. It's not going to garner the hype that the MCU did in its heyday, and I don't think that the MCU is in its heyday anymore.
No. Goodness, no.
And yeah, I think it's.
I think, and then we'll read through the slate real quick because I know that we're going way over, but my opinion is that I'm excited. I'm also underwhelmed. I think it'll be better than what it's been, but I think they're going to have to seriously temper their expectations for like what is going to be a success for this.
That can't be the standard. Like if I demand excellence from my artists, Hunter.
Well, what's funny is that he actually said
I wouldn't listen to your music if it didn't kick ass. You know.
Well, thank you. So what's funny is that there's going to be the DCU, and then there's going to be the DC Elseworlds, which is going to be the Batman 2, and then Joker 2, and then the Black Superman movie. And he said, this is a quote from James Gunn, he said that the bar for the Elseworlds stories is going to be much higher than for the mainline DCU, which I was like, that's good, but also I would hope that the main movies are also good.
Yeah, shouldn't the bar be high? Like, why would we not set the bar high? Anyway,
so there is that. There are 2 confirmed Elseworlds movies that are in development, and the Black Superman movie is still being developed. It hasn't been confirmed as far as like release dates and stuff, but it is currently being written. And those 2 movies are Batman 2, which I think is July. No, not not July, October of 2025. And then Joker 2, which is Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix, that's filming right now. So those things are not in the DCU, but they're still going to do like quote unquote Elseworld stories. But here's the slate. We got an animated show called Creature Commandos.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of them.
Which is gonna the poster that they shared had Weasel on it.
Yes, and apparently the dude in the yellow shirt is Rick Flag Sr.
Okay.
So, but I don't know anything about them. And then we have Waller, which is a spinoff with Viola Davis returning.
And we had this conversation over text message, but how many universes has she been in? Because it's more than it's at least 2 already. Like
so
different.
she was in Suicide Squad. She was in the Suicide Squad, and she was in Black Adam.
Right.
Yeah. So all of them. So then
was she in the Harley Quinn movie, or was she not in the Harley Quinn movie?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Then we have the like big one, which is Superman Legacy. We're gonna have a 25-year-old Superman. What? I was thinking about Harley Quinn. Is Margot Robbie going to be a part of the new DCU? Probably. I would say yes.
Because that means she's also been in like a bunch of different shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But we have Superman Legacy comes out in July of 25. He's not going to be an origin story. He's going to be already Superman, but he's going to be young. It's based off of All-Star Superman, which is a really good book. So we'll see. James Gunn's writing it. He said he'll likely direct it. So we'll see. I mean, whatever. This one's kind of intriguing. We have a Green Lantern show that's going to have Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Out of all the stuff that's not a movie, this is the one that I might try to watch.
Okay.
The rest of them, I don't see myself watching Creature Commandos. I didn't watch Peacemaker, so I doubt I'll watch Waller. Interesting. And then we have a movie called The Authority, which I've never heard. The Authority is like good guys, but they're kind of bad. Like they protect the Earth, but they'll do anything to stop it. You know what I mean? It's like
to stop
like
Earth?
Peacemaker. No, to like stop it being destroyed, but so they'll kill everybody if they have to. It's like Peacemaker almost. Then we get a Paradise Lost, which is like a Game of Thrones style drama HBO Max series, which is like Themyscira, which is Wonder Woman's birthplace.
So they're recreating Game of Thrones, like literally.
It takes place a long time ago. I guess I haven't seen that show. And then we get the Batman introduction of the DCU, which is The Brave and the Bold, which is Batman. And Bruce Wayne's gonna have his son Damian Wayne be Robin, which is he's one of the Robins. So it seems like we'll already have an established Batman and Bat family in this universe.
How old is Robin in the comic? Is he like
he's like 13.
Okay.
So Batman, they said probably be like early to mid 30s. So would have been more when he was in his early 20s. Just didn't know about him.
You were about to talk about Batman having sex. You were about to say he probably would have had sex when he was like.
He would have had to. In the comic books, Batman doesn't know about him for the first 10 years of his life, and so I bet that'll kind of be where it goes from here. But they said it'll have the Bat family, so Nightwing and
he does a supply drop and then just goes on with his life.
Yeah, with Talia al Ghul. You know the woman who dies at the end of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I know who Talia al Ghul is.
Yeah. In the Batman sequel, that's
Raz's daughter.
Yes. And then we get an HBO Max series, which is Booster Gold, which is a guy from the future. She's kind of an idiot.
She's also in Inception. Sorry, I'll let you continue now.
You're fine. Booster Gold, and then we get a Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow movie.
Which is Superman, but she's jaded because she's watched everyone around her die.
Yes. And then we get a horror film that is Swamp Thing to close out this part of the first chapter, and the rumor is that James Mangold is in talks to direct that.
Mm-hmm. And
so there you go.
This is the first part of the first chapter of what is going to be an 8 to 10 year plan.
Yes, and he said that they are planning out 2 chapters. That's all. So I guess five or so years each. And then that after the first chapter, the end of their story comes, but the universe can continue. So we'll see. Again, we were texting, and I think you misunderstood what I was saying, because they're doing video games, movies, animated shows, and TV shows.
Right.
And just like with Marvel, they haven't done games and stuff.
Yes, they have.
That's awesome.
They did a Guardians of the Galaxy game that came out last year.
Oh.
Or 2 years ago, or whenever.
I didn't know that. That's all awesome. That's all cool. Do your thing. That's really ambitious. That's really tight. You know, I hope it's awesome. Most people, and myself included, are not going to watch or play most of that stuff. I'm going to watch some movies and maybe a show if I can fit it in. So my thing is like, if you're going to be like, hey, you have to watch this show to get it, then that's going to be an issue. Because I'm not going to play a video game just to try and keep up with the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Anyway, at least they have a plan. Good for them.
Yeah,
Best news of the week.
We've had Avengers games. We've had the Guardians of the Galaxy game came out in 2021.
Are those like set in the same canon?
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is like, it looks like Chris Pratt in the game.
Well, there you go. All right, that's my shindig. Let's wrap it up. What's your Atlanta sports minute? Hawks, they still suck?
Yeah, the Hawks. Well, this is related to the Hawks because, you know, we drafted Trae Young as a part of a trade, and we traded away Luka Doncic to the Mavericks, and the Mavericks just traded for Kyrie Irving. So, you know, we'll see how that goes for them. But the Hawks are they might make it to the play-in tournament, but we're not going to get very far. They're just not. They're not thriving.
Treading water.
Nate McMillan, who turned the team around when he took over after they got rid of what's his face? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He's lost control of the players. Like whatever he did to inspire them then is not working anymore because it's a lot of the same players. We haven't made too many trades since that time. And so there's already talks. Like I listen to sports radio in the morning and they're already talking about let's get rid of Nate. So it's just crazy because they signed him to like a 5 or 6 year contract and he's only in like year 2 or 3 right now. So
that's the way it goes though.
But it's very disappointing because we brought in DeJounte Murray, who's supposed to be like, it's not Batman and Robin, it'd be like Superman and Batman, you know, like two superstar players playing in the backcourt with each other, and it was supposed to just fix all their problems, and it has not. It has not. So, and there's been public scuffles between Trae Young and Nate McMillan specifically. They've been seen like yelling at each other on the bench and like all this stuff. So there's just drama.
That's the stuff. Yeah, that's wild to me about the NBA. It seems like that in the NBA, which I think is good that the players have control over their own destinies. But like Kyrie Irving was just like, I don't want to play here anymore. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, I guess we got to trade you. Or I read that he was either going to get traded or they were going to bench him the rest of the year.
They were going to bench him, or he was just going to not play.
Maybe the second one, I don't know. But
because that last year he didn't play for most of the season because he's not, and I don't want to get into this, argument, but he's not vaccinated, and so he wasn't eligible to play for like the majority of the season last season, or for some of the time the season prior to that, and anyways.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's a very very hawk moment of you.
Thanks. I'm probably going to come up with something else. You know what? We're going to do a Hawk Minute next week, and then we're going to bring back the Braves Minute because spring training is starting.
Nice.
In less than 2 weeks. So the second spring training starts, I'm going to start talking about baseball again. Yeah.
All right, it's time for whiskey shots.
Okay.
And Zach, hurry up because Hannah needs me.
I'm here, baby. I'm here.
All right. This has just become a toast. It's supposed to be some crazy, it's supposed to be some profound thing when we first started this, but it's just a toast to whiskey.
To whiskey.
Because this is always for her. We love and miss her. So tell somebody that you love them. Cheers to whiskey. What were you drinking?
It's the same thing I drink every week, man.
Same thing.
Elijah
I opened
Craig.
up a fresh new bottle of Crown Apple. All right, Zach, where can they find us?
You can find us on the Twitter at BIIG Podcast. You can email us at biigpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I think also at But Is It Good Podcast.
You can follow me at Hunter Callahan Music on everything. You can follow Zach on Instagram at Zach2, future.31. Please like, subscribe, say hello, send us an email. Do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want.
Whatever you
Just
want.
tell your friends. Tell your friends. Follow us.
Tell Tony at the deli.
Tell Tony. And then what do we have next week? I'm trying to look. I can't find it. Oh, wait, I posted on Instagram. Hold on a second. This is going on too long. Okay, next week we are doing Women Talking.
Women Talking.
Oh, wait, I made a mistake on that post.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
I have one of the dates is wrong. Oh, well.
Oh.
Okay. All right, that's it. We'll see you guys next week. Women Talking. Yeah? Anything else?
Yeah, no, nothing else.
All right, cool. Bye.
Bye. But Is It Good Podcast? Yeah.